Hello everybody, my name is John Robberts and we are on a Sunday in Amy Carrier's classroom. This is my first time here and I'm excited about sharing with you, learning from you and answering any questions you might have today. I've been talking with Amy for quite a while, and when Amy introduced me earlier a couple of weeks ago, she also mentioned that we actually got to meet at one of her interviews on Amy Carrier's Rock Stars. I didn't quite see myself as a rock star, but we chatted a fair bit and got to know her very well. And it is actually a great pleasure to be part of this global organization where we have at least a dozen mentors covering all kinds of different subjects, from cryptocurrency in Sweden to PJ in China to my partner Arthi, who's also part of the mentorship, and she was on last night covering different topics within leadership as well. And I will be covering leadership as well. The title of my whole setup is Masterminding Your Way to Success: Leadership Through Personal Innovation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share some innovative methods, ask you some questions to make you think, and of course I look forward to you asking me questions and making me think as well. But I've set out my agenda for the next 6 months, and I think it's going to be wonderful from my point of view to start with leadership, and then I'm going to cover other subjects in the coming months, such as coaching, speaking, youth development, which is another passion of mine, finding your why, and I think all these subjects, speaking as well, all these subjects are very much related to each other, because when you're leading, you're speaking. When you're leading, you're actually coaching, because they bring all the questions out to listen better as a leader. And even youth development is part of the leadership track, because we need to support and help our youth to provide them with the skills and tools that they need to become the leaders of tomorrow, and in my opinion, the ones we need today. So yes, and for that also, as adults in this classroom, we need to actually help each other and learn from each other, learn with each other, grow with each other. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. Hi Julia, great to see you, and Alex. See our fellow mentors, and Arthi here now as well, of course. I have instructed her to be here, but she's always supporting anyway in anything I do, so I wouldn't see it any different. But it's great for fellow mentors to come and support us in this classroom, and I am recommending that anybody here also go and find out what these other mentors do and join their classrooms as well, because there is some amazing stuff these mentors bring to the table, and I'm learning a lot, and if I can learn a lot, I'm sure you'll find some stuff in there that'll be worthwhile for you as well, that you can take with you. And we cannot do this without mentioning Amy herself, of course, because she started with it's a bit like Martin Luther King. I have a dream. Well, Amy had a dream, and to bring this out, and I don't think there's any coincidence that we're sitting here just now and talking with you already, because Amy is still searching and looking for people she think are worthwhile for you to bring value to the table. It's not just for us to sit here, it's actually, she finds people, hello Alex, good to see you, she finds people who she thinks are bringing value to the table for you, the listener and the viewer, to get some value out of this. So that's why this is a classroom. So it's not only about us talking and you learning. Hi Kim, great to see you too. And it is also about us being able to learn from you around the world, because this is a global classroom, and I've already learned so much, not just from the fellow mentors, but also the questions being asked in those classrooms. So I'm just introducing myself and talking a little bit about this before I go into my session, to give people a chance just to get online And I mean, I know it doesn't help here right now, because if you see this video, there is a good chance that you're already in Amy Classroom. But if you see it on somebody else's page, what you need to do is to go onto the Facebook page Amy Carrier's Classroom and apply there and to want to join it. And for that you need to answer 3 simple questions. It's very simple, but to answer those kind of questions and then come and join us, because the more of you are coming to join us, the more exciting it is going to be for all of us. I mean, I want to learn as much from people, and I know there is now, I might be wrong, 87 countries in Amy's Carrier's Classroom. So for me it's exciting just to learn from people in the Netherlands, and I've seen Scotland as well, and I'm originally from the Netherlands, and we emigrated to Scotland as a family 40 years ago now. So of course I emigrated when I was 1 year old. Not quite, but I see people from there as well as from the United States and Sweden, China, Pakistan, South Africa as well, and you know, from everywhere, and that's wonderful. I mean, it is so good that we can use modern technology to share with each other. I mean, before that we would have had to maybe buy a book or listen to a podcast, and even before that it was books and maybe some television, and apply for a series that would get sent to the post. You know, these post people who still do an amazing job to get parcels to us, but I mean, that was all there was before, and now we have this wonderful technology. We've got satellites, we can reach people we would never have been able to reach before, that we can now learn from as well as share with, and that to me is absolutely exciting. So I think we'll take another couple of minutes, and then I will really get started with my lesson today. And you know, as I said, we're going to start this month, I suppose. I've set out these 6 months, and this month will be leadership. And I will take my guide from people like yourselves and our students, that if they would like a particular subject covered in the speaking, coaching, training, youth development, finding your why, and communication, then there is not necessarily any order that they come in. But we'll spend a month in leadership. And you know, this month what I will share in leadership is the first session is going to be, what kind of leader am I? Then I'm going to talk about intentional leadership. I'm going to talk about influential leadership, and the 4th session will be the values of a great leader. So there you have it already. That's me setting my stall out for the next 4 sessions. And I know it's wonderful, because when you look at leadership is such a humongous subject. You know, there is many books written about it, videos made, blogs written, and you know, we all have many different definitions, opinions, ideas, perceptions, and meanings about what leadership actually is. And I don't, for me, it is not to convince you that what I'm going to say is right, but I will at least give you my perception. And from the many years I've now studied leadership, I'm part of a global leadership organization, the John Maxwell team. There's now 20,000 people. So we share and learn a lot with each other, and of course we all bring our own perception. And I will not go into, you know, we've all got leaders around the world that we think about when we think about leadership, and we've got our own opinions about them as well. Some people love one leader, when other people you can have a conversation with, and I thought, well, what do you see in that leader? Because I don't get that. I am not going to discuss that kind of stuff, because I think it is better to share with each other and answer questions about these kind of things. But when we start bringing in all kinds of different things, like politics, for example, you know, we have different sides, and we want to come together. So I don't. It has caused so many arguments and fights around the world, and I just want to share with you, and want to learn from you, and want to learn with you. And that doesn't matter whether you are seeing a different side of leadership in, for example, India, or whether you're seeing a different side of leadership in China or the UK. It doesn't matter. But we will generally talk about leadership. And today's subject is going to be, what kind of leader am I? So, since we're about 10 minutes in now, I think that I will get started with this, and I would like, when you have any questions, put them in the box below, because I will do my best to answer as many questions as possible during and, time permitting, after I'm done with my session. And if I don't get your question answered, don't worry or don't be upset about it, but I will do my best afterwards in Amy Carrier's classroom, where the video will be posted for a short period of time. I will do my best to answer your questions as good as I can. And if that doesn't happen, next week, if there's any questions outstanding, that will be the first thing I will actually address. So there's my promise to you. And this video will be available after the live call for a short period of time. And I would recommend that you don't wait 3 or 4 days, because I don't know what the time is actually. I think they've talked about 24 hours, but it certainly won't be available for a long time. And we like to provide as much value as we can, and all the mentors are the same. They keep giving and giving, and what we would like you to get from it is what you need to get out of it at this moment in time. But should you want to get to these videos later, maybe in weeks or month time, and say, I know there were some videos about leadership and I want to get at them. There will be opportunities to get at them, but at the moment they're free. I think later on you will be able to buy these videos, but why not get them when they're free, But yeah, they won't go away. So when we talk about what kind of leader am I, and most people don't even think about that, because let's take one step back. When we mention leadership, what kind of people come to your mind straight away? What are the kind of people that you think will be good leaders, and what kind of people do you think are not so good leaders? And again, that is a perception and that's an opinion, and sometimes maybe the whole world agrees, but there is a lot of variety there, and I'm actually going to talk about what kind of leader am I today, because I want people to start realizing something very important, and I'm going to mention that. But first of all, let me ask you another question. Who do we blame when everything goes wrong? There is challenges around the world. I mean, I'm in South Africa just now, so we are already at 7:15, nearly at night time. So if you join us from somewhere in Africa, good evening. And I'm always, this is for me an important question, because I used to sit around the table with people, and all we used to get is, I call it blame storming. We blame other people for so many things that we cannot control. We can't do anything about them. So we can blame others for them, but sometimes I think, why don't we start looking a little bit closer to home? Because blaming others doesn't solve anything. And we can actually, if we are, Arthur says it just now as well. Arthur, you're right. I always mention it. I call it blame storming. And, if we can actually blame some people about something, it would even be better if we actually not only blame them for something, but come with some solutions to the table. Because that way we're all going to learn something. It is an African principle of leadership is where the leader always talks last. And there is a great reason for that. Because when the leader talks last, he might learn an awful lot more, and then rather than give the solution at the beginning and then hope everybody agrees with you. Because there is so much knowledge in people that we take for granted, but we don't even take it for granted, because quite often we don't realize what's within us. And if somebody starts asking us questions, and I'll address that much more in the coaching side, but if some of us get asked questions and ask for our opinion and respect us for the opinions we have, that is also part of leadership. Respect is got to be there, in my opinion. But as long as we keep blaming other people for the circumstances we're in, we certainly won't grow. And I think leaders who want to be better leaders, who want to be great leaders, they're always trying to grow. Now, when I now think about leadership, and when we do this all the time, and all of a sudden we're looking for values in leaders that a lot of leaders maybe are lacking, because there is worldwide there is a great shortage of values being shown by leaders, or great examples to our youth, to us as adults, and I think we need to realize it much more. Now, I could ask you what kind of values you would like to see in the leaders around you. Hi, it's again. Great to see you. And if there is a certain handful of values, and we're going to go into that in number 4, that you would like to see in others as leaders. Now I'm going to tell you that we are all leaders. I don't say we're all good leaders, but we're all leaders. Every individual is a leader. And that comes from the little children who help others, somebody doing the right thing by another person, but leading by example. What examples are you leading by? What values do you expect in other people that maybe at best you're a little bit shaky on? I mean, we can all mention people who we actually look at and I said, they are doing things wrong. They are making mistakes. They are whatever you want to fill in the gap. But then if you really are honest and look in the mirror, that person that looks back at you all the time, and you say to him, am I actually being a good example to my colleagues, to my peers, to the people who work for me, to my family? Am I really a good example? And I mean, it is something that we all have to keep asking ourselves, and we all have to work at, And that is something that will really. I think the foundation of leadership is character, and character is ethics, values, and principles. So if the foundation is exactly that, then what kind of leader are you? Are you really the kind of person that you would like to see lead your country, lead your company, lead an army to war, lead your family through life, where they can look up to you and have respect for you, not just because you are who you are, but who you have become in that journey. Because that is very important. Who are we becoming in the journey we're going and showing the leadership to others, to grow our children, to grow our youth into a generation that flourishes, because we went out of our way to become uncomfortable and learn things, adjust things that we need to learn to become better leaders. Hi, Julia. Indeed. She's talking about character, integrity, authenticity, compassion. Yeah, that's another wonderful subject we do. Artie and I are actually writing a book about that. But now if we look at leadership, there is always opportunities to become a better leader. So if we're all leaders already, then wherever we are, we are. We cannot change that. And maybe some people don't want to change it because they feel good already, but it is all the biggest room the biggest room in the world is the room for improvement, and we can always improve. But we are where we are right now because of all that's happened behind us. We are here now. We can worry about the future. We can think about what might be, what should be, or even what could have been. But we are here right now. What can we do today to become better leaders? And to become better leaders, there is different levels of leadership. But when you look into this whole levels of leadership, you will find out pretty quickly that every level up from the one you are now, wherever you are, you might be the ground zero, you might be the base level, it involves connecting better with people. That's why I'm going to be talking about coaching and speaking and communication as well, because the better we can connect with people, Hi Sharita, great to see you. The better we connect with people, the better we will lead. And leadership is all about influence. You know? And how can we, and this is not, sometimes it's misunderstood because they say it's influence over people, but that is wrong. That is old style leadership. That's the boss and all that kind of stuff who tells you what to do, and if you don't do it, there'll be consequences. No, leadership is influence, and the influence is with people. And as Sharita says there as well, taking accountability and responsibility no matter what. And that's brilliant, Sharita. Thank you for sharing that with us. And this is, we need to be accountable, first of all, to ourselves. I mean, we when we're in an organization, we have a certain accountability to our peers, to our employees, if you have employees, or if you're an employee, to our superiors. But we have a certain accountability because we are there to provide a service, and we need to every day, whether we're always happy where we're at, but we need to provide a service the best way we can. And the better service we provide, showing us up as leaders, the better chance we have of getting a bigger leadership position. And that is sharing with the people, being polite, showing respect. Sometimes it's simple. How are you doing today? Hi, good to see you. Great that you're here today. And also at the times when people are not so happy, go to see them. You can connect with the people at work. You can connect with others, not necessarily only when to be positive, but sometimes you see people being a little bit down, just to go and say, anything I can do. Sometimes a simple hand on the shoulder. It's connecting with people at the level of humanness. Artie says it all the time, and as Sharita says as well, to help ourselves develop as leaders. And again, there's wonderful books about it. I say there is so much written. I mean, John Maxwell himself has written about 110 books on the subject and counting. And then you add all the other great leaders around the world and who've written about this in so many different ways. So there is a huge subject there. But it is definitely, when you want to up your leadership levels, up your leadership skills, and as a good point is made, you need to start with yourself. It has been said so many times before, we can't give what we haven't got. So, you need to start with yourself and the respect for yourself, how do I feel about myself, and then you bring it to the table big time. Don't leave anything behind, because what you've left behind you can't take with you. You're here today, just bring it all and be that person. Go for it and say, okay, today is going to be the best day of my life. And let's face it, people, I'm always very thankful when I wake up in the morning. I always say to myself, I'm blessed and highly favored. And people used to say at work to me, even on a Monday morning. I remember them, it's Monday morning. But I used to go and whistle when I used to go into work when I had that job. Hi, Nicola, good to see you, my daughter. I used to go into work and whistle, and people say, what are you so happy about? And I used to say, something today, something brilliant happened to me. And they said, what happened? What happened? I say, I woke up. Now, you should have seen their faces. And I thought, that is the best start to any day anybody can have, because there are so many people who didn't wake up today, who would have loved to swap places with anybody, not just me, anybody, to get another opportunity. And that's when we, even in leadership, when we are going to be showing a good example to others around us, then we need to be the best we can be. And that is not always easy, I get that. But if we can all do our little bits, and people sometimes also confuse the difference between managers and leaders. But regardless whether you have a title as a manager, a leader, a business owner, or any other, you are in a business of growing, developing, and improving people. And in my book, that makes you more of a leader than a manager. You know, there's been many things that have actually been said about the differences between managers and leaders, and you can find all these things. You go on Google and you find them all. But there's a friend and my coaching guru, teacher, master, Christian Simpson. And he put it in a way that I would like to share with you, because I think it is simple, succinct, and to the point. And it says, Christian Simpson says this: managers measure people, process, and performance, and leaders develop people, process, and performance. Now I'll repeat that because I think it's that good. I say managers measure people, process, and performance, and leaders develop people, process, and performance. Now, how simple is that? And there is many other things that come to the table, and you can do a bit of both, of course. And sometimes, you know, and everything has its place in management and leadership, and you can combine it. But I mean, that is basically where the development and the measurement is where the biggest difference lies. And it is being a manager or a leader. It is not really about a title. However much we sometimes think it is. Now we've arrived, we've got a title, we're the boss, we're a leader. If that thinking process is there, you need to think about what it actually is. It's a behavior. Leadership is a behavior. And so if it's not a title, and I'm coming back to where we were earlier, is that we are all leaders. You know, even all of you online just now, and I'm so glad that Nicola, my daughter in Scotland, joined me here online as well. But that's where everyone is a leader. So you know, when we look at that, if this is a behavior, not the person. Like sometimes I mean, if you've been on this planet long enough and you've had a few jobs, and you can all probably mention a boss that was, whether he was a bully or he was rude and all that kind of stuff. But quite often, if you take the person out, because deep down most persons there is goodness in everyone, that's for sure. But if we take that out and we just look at the behavior of the person, and I say, you know, and then when we go back to what kind of leader am I, then we need to look at what behavior do I have that doesn't suit either me or the people around me. How can I change a certain behavior in me where I am maybe falling short a little bit? You know, so therefore, and these things can all be changed. And when you actually look at, I love this. It's called. It's in the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John Maxwell. It's one of his. It's his most popular book. I think it's sold millions of copies. And as the book says, it's got 21 laws in there. But one of them is the law of the lid. Now this is very interesting, and it is very important for leadership, because the law of the lid talks about the leadership's ability to determine a person's level of effectiveness. So how effective? And the lower your ability to lead, the lower your effectiveness as a leader, and ability to determine the effectiveness and the potential impact you have. So if you could score yourself from a 1 to 10, and 1 being not really the greatest ability as a leader, and 10 of course being perfect, which would be you'd be in trouble. Hi, I'm Breen. Great to see you here. And look at where you are, and it doesn't matter what your score is. As it says, we are where we are right now. We're going to talk about this kind of stuff and develop this in a way where we actually can improve. We can all improve on our leadership ability. Because Arthur always says in the trainings he does is, you know, the idea of leaders is not to stand over and lord over people and say, look at me, I'm the leader. No, it is actually to lift people up and go down to where they are and lift them up and take them with you. That is something that's very important. And this is also a whole different level of leadership where when you actually take them with you and then provide them with so many great tools and skills and abilities that you actually lift them past you. Now that is a big ask for a lot of people, but it is a top level of leadership where you can actually lift people up and they go past you, and you don't have to be scared of losing your job because now they become better leaders. Because if you can train people to that kind of level, not a company in the world should ever let you go, because that is real leadership. But if you take people up, sometimes the question is, what are you taking them up to? It's different. I mean, if we're both here at this kind of level, then you don't have to take them up anywhere because they're already at the same level as you. But that's why you need to keep improving yourself. And I mean, Sharita mentioned it as well. That to help people believe in themselves. Yes, it is very important. It's a very important part of leadership, and that's why but for that to happen, you also have to connect with people. Because if you don't connect with people and you give them all these wonderful pep talks and you need to believe in yourself, you need to be the best you can be, but yet first of all you don't practice it, and they don't believe you because most of the time you're not the kind of leader they want to certainly look up to, then all of this falls on deaf ears. But connecting with people at that kind of level, and so we need to keep developing ourselves. And Arthi mentioned it as well, where she talks about help those people and build them up and pass. She's actually just reading what she's saying there, and it's actually what I just mentioned. I thought it was good. But yeah, Arthi is amazing. She's supporting me in the background and typing in some stuff I'm saying. So I can see if there's any good stuff in there later on. But no, she's amazing, and she's supporting me in this and giving you an opportunity to, if you've missed this, to read some of the stuff that I've been talking about. But you need to keep developing yourself, because if you're going to lead, at some point, if you keep giving all that stuff to people, and people can find stuff elsewhere as well, because the idea is that if you give all of you to other people, and they can also have access to other stuff, including of course their own wisdom, then it makes sense that at some point, if you do the job right, they would go past you. Because they've got all of you, all of them, and all of other stuff from other people who, hopefully, this is not a one-man show, and somebody has to impart all their knowledge and listen to them and help them and guide them and support them. I mean, this should be a team effort. Leadership has got to be a team effort. If you are leading and you want to walk over the line first, then you're not a leader. Somebody says if you're walking at the back and pushing people, you're not a leader either. But walk over that line together. Walk arm in arm. Support these people. And I mean, whether it is very realistic in some organizations, I don't know. But I mean, we can meet somewhere. If we can support each other and guide each other and helping other people succeed, whatever level of leader we're at. And as if we're all leaders, then we all have that opportunity, we all have the possibility, and I think we all have the duty to help each other. Small things every day. I will talk about it in the next session as well, but we have that need for everyone to start doing that little bit more, to develop ourselves. What kind of leader are you? To develop others and help them to develop others as well. Because sometimes the people we help develop maybe don't have all the skills and tools to actually help others again. But if they're in trouble, if they've got challenges, how can I help you to support the other person? Is there anything I can do for you? And that shouldn't just be, we're not just talking job. We're talking everywhere. We're talking compassion. We're talking about how to, it's not about just feeling people for where they are, but it's actually, sometimes we need to walk in their shoes as leaders as well and actually bring that compassion to the table where we can actually say, Ines, I see you're hurting and I see something is wrong, but what can I do to help you? And of course, we will talk about values in the fourth session, the kind of values you would like to see in a leader. But we need to we can all do more. That's what I'm trying to say. We not only can we do more, we must do more. Leadership around the world is failing badly. And people use this point up to, and it doesn't matter. We have sports stars that are failing drugs tests. We've got leaders that are failing all kinds of tests, and we have all these kind of things going on in every sphere of influence. The late Dr. Miles Monroe, he wrote a book, and it's called The Power of Character in Leadership, and he doesn't hold back either. When he in that book. Another amazing person talking about leadership, and from a most religious background as well. But he brought it to the table, and I've learned a lot from him as well. Unfortunately, more since his name came about and he passed on. But it is amazing when he talks about it. He also talks about every sphere of it, and I mean every sphere of influence where leadership is failing. And he said we need to do more, we need to be more, and we need to become more. Because we are the examples of our youth. What example are we? What kind of leader are we? If as long as we keep going, and we actually don't worry what happens around us. See, around the world we become a lot more insular, and we become through all kinds of stuff. We are getting scared of our environment we live in because there is so much negativity. There is so much violence, there is all kinds of stuff going on, and that's of course the stuff that hits the news all the time. That's another reason I don't read and buy newspapers. I haven't bought one for 30 years plus, but that's my personal choice, and I don't say don't go and buy them. I say be very careful of the material that actually goes into your head, because I did a very short video I think 2 days ago about we take care of ourselves, we go exercising, and we talk about our health and how we need to do more and eat less or eat healthier. But we forget we also need to look after our mind. Because our mind is so powerful. I've learned this through martial arts for many years. And as your mind, the eyes are the windows to your soul, they say, but your mind governs a lot. If this shuts down, that shuts down. So if we can feed our mind with more positive material, and we can get that anywhere. We can get that from videos. You can Google all of this kind of, from motivational, inspirational videos, to start that day on a more positive level, from the amazing books that are out there, and any kind of people we surround ourselves with. Now there's another question. As a leader, who do you surround yourself with? What kind of leader do you want to be also has a big influence on the kind of people that are around you. Les Brown always mentions it, and it came from the late, I can't even remember his name, Jones. Charlie Tremendous Jones. An amazing character he was. I had the pleasure of meeting this guy. He always called everything tremendous, but he says the books you read, the things you hear, and the people you associate with will guide the kind of person you become. What kind of leader do you want to become? See, and we don't all have to become Martin Luther Kings and Gandhis and all the great leaders of the world. Mandela, another amazing leader from this very country, South Africa. But we can all become more. We can all do more. And if we do that, rather than do this, where we started at the very beginning, blamestorming and pointing fingers at everybody else, then surely surely this world will become better. I mean, I am very much for saving animals, and we need to look after our animals as well, because they say children and animals know exactly, they feel people. And if animals don't want to come to you, there is probably a problem there as well. But when we're talking about that kind of stuff, and somebody said this 25 years ago, when it was a big thing about saving the whales. And that is still ongoing, and in Africa it's the rhinos and the elephants and all this kind of poaching that goes on for mindless stuff. But I mean, that's a whole different subject. But what he said was, and it hit home to me then, he said, we are busy saving the whales, but let's save the people. When we save the people will save the whales. And that struck with me everything. And you can take that in a whole different context. But how can we do that? If we become better leaders, we have an opportunity to guide others better. And by that, maybe saving them from something worse than they're going through just now. Because leadership is not all this big thing. Leadership is doing small things. I mean, extraordinary people do ordinary things extraordinarily well. So, I am near, I'm just keeping going, and I'm near my first piece of advice from Arthi, change your heart. Sharita, okay. See, I've got my glasses ready if I need them, but most of the time I can read that. But there is some wonderful advice there from people listening as well. And Sharita, and I'm hopefully say it right, Maharaj, yeah, I'm doing my best, Sharita. But she's also typing in there, and I really appreciate all you do there too. And this will give great insights to the people who listen to the video, who want to watch the video later on as well, to get some insights of what's happening. And Sharita also mentioned the spirituality is so important. And I mentioned it briefly, but I go into that a lot further in the next couple of sessions, where your mind. I learned it through martial arts, and there are so many stories where people can cure and kill themselves by the way they think. So would it not make sense in that very way to live a healthier life? Because a healthy mind is very powerful. I don't say that people with a healthy mind don't necessarily become ill, but it's the way they look at things, the way things happen. And when you come with a positive mind, and when you come with a mind to the table, like whether you are teachers and people who actually take care of our children in their education, it's difficult. And that it's out of date and things need to change. But the teachers are some of my heroes. They are some people who really have got a powerful opportunity to lead from the front with guiding our youth for 5 days a week for 16 years. And it must be frustrating and tough at times. But even as a teacher, to wake up in the morning and say, today I will find that Einstein. Today I'm going to give these teachers, these kids, so much value that I'm going to give it my all. And by the end of the day, these children will be better because we have shared with each other. Because, even I said it already, children and animals will feel you. So if us as adults, and not just teachers, if us as adults are negative all the time and complaining, and then we actually find out eventually that, I don't know how our children turned out the way they did because I did my very best. If you had a video of your life, did you do all you could do to give your children what they needed at the time they needed it, from a person that they could use that advice from? It might not always be you, but parenting is also difficult, and it's sometimes challenging, maybe often challenging, but as parents we've also got a duty to do whatever we can do. What kind of leader am I? What kind of leader are you? Now I need to have a look to see where I'm at on the time, because it's quarter to. Okay. Arthi just says that if you had a video of your life, Did you give your children everything you could give? Now, how is that? How is that? I mean, just to take that a bit further, you know, have you done all you could do? I mean, there's a saying, all you can do is all you can do, and all you can do is enough. But are you doing, or have you done all you can do? And I mean, listen, I'm the first one to hold up my hand. I haven't done all I could do. I haven't yet done all I can do, and I'm not doing all I can do. But I hope to improve all the time. But here's the thing, and I think it came from Les Brown as well, and he said, you know, if you were on your deathbed, and I'm not right now, but by the time you're on your deathbed, and the ghost of you get this this Dickens story where the ghost of the past, and they stand at your bedside, and they said, you know, only you could have done what you had to do. Only you. And yet, you didn't do it. You haven't done what you could do, or everybody's got gifts. Every one of us has got gifts. And if we improve on our gifts, and if we improve all the things we can do in our lifetime, then we don't have to listen to that. Only you could have done, because you will have done. How different will that life be? As I said, we can't change what's happened in the past. And that's why, yes, sometimes we need to remember what has happened in the past, because we need to bring those experiences with us into the future, into the now, and into the future. Maybe not, because maybe today we have other experiences that supersede them and say, hey, we are better today. And that's it, you know, if we can be better today than we were yesterday and do the same tomorrow, what will our life look like by this time next year? How much better a leader can we all be next year? Hi, Amy. Good to see you. So there's a question, and you know, for you to think about. What are you willing to do to become a better leader? You know, we're rather than, as I said at the very beginning, rather than blame all these other people, wherever they are, whatever, whether it's your boss, your brother, your mother-in-law, wherever, a leader of a country, you know, what are you willing to do? Because by doing on a daily basis something more than you did yesterday, you know, as I just said, become better today than you were yesterday. If that is and that could be the simplest of goals. I never said you need to go and build an ark, you need to go and invent the telephone, you know, like these people have done, or invent the light bulb, which took many times. You know, talk about failure. It was just experience on how not to do it, as Thomas Edison said. And I love that. How many experiences have you had how you shouldn't be doing things? And how many times have you done the same? You know, if you do something different, and maybe fortunately, but sometimes I say unfortunately, experience comes after the event. But to take it back, what are you willing to do to become a better you? And that is maybe the better question, because becoming a better leader, if you become a better you, I am sure that you will become a better leader. As Sharita says as well, and Arthi said as well, be willing to do what we are willing to do, and Sharita says as well, take responsibility to be the best version of yourself so far. And say, you know, hopefully we all have a long and healthy life yet. But we don't know that because, as I say, every day is a present. But do we ever, every day, unwrap that present? I mean, if you are sitting at Christmas with the presents under the tree, the kids don't just wait, they can hardly wait until Christmas Eve or the morning. It depends where you are, what habits you have and when to open them. And they don't, you know, like we do everything to wrap these Christmas presents up nicely and beautifully, make them look beautiful, and for taking the photos with the whole family at the Christmas tree. But or if it's a birthday or any present you get. If you give them to children, they don't care what the paperwork looks like after. They rip that paper off and they open the boxes and they want to get into this kind of stuff. Become childlike in opening your present. That present is a life you have today. That present is something you can pass on to others. You know, we're talking about legacy. But the present you open today, how could you pass it on to somebody else? And for them to open a present like you did today, tomorrow, and be equally as happy because now you've already got that experience. You say, this is something I need to share with other people. This is something that I have learned today that I need to share with people today. If not today, definitely tomorrow. Because if it's 11 o'clock at night, you don't want to go and phone people out of bed and say, you know, I've learned something today. And they might say, thank you very much, or not. But what are you willing to do? Are you willing to become a little bit uncomfortable? Are you willing to stretch yourself a bit? To take yourself out of that comfort zone you're living just now, whatever level this is at. Because comfort zones come at all kinds of levels. Are you willing to become the leader you would like to see in the world? Are you willing to become that person that is going to be an example to your children, and if you haven't got family or a family yet, to your wider family, to your friends, to the people at work? Are you willing to change from rather that people avoid you every time at work, from you know, here he comes again or here she comes again? Say everybody lights up a room, some people by coming in and other people by leaving. Which room are you lighting up? And why are you lighting it up? Will you actually be willing to step up as that leader? Because when you step up, it takes something. And if you step up, sometimes people are going to ridicule you. You don't have to step up and stand head and body above somebody. I mean, I stand on the shoulders of leaders because they are teaching me how I can do better things. They are giving me skills and tools where I can become better every single day. But they can give us many skills and tools, like in Amy's classroom as well, which is an amazing group of people from all walks of life to give you all kinds of skills and tools. You can do everything with you like. But it's the same way as so many motivational books are still written, because if the motivational books were good enough and everybody would take action, we wouldn't probably need that many more, if any. We need to take action. So what action are you going to take? And I know I'm running close to the end of my time. I hope for you it hasn't been too long. I've loved this already, and this is my first time. But are you willing? And when I go back to some of the points that I've mentioned, you know, about what kind of leader am I? And I started off with, who do we want to blame when everything goes wrong? And then I carried on with, you know, we are all leaders. So when we're all leaders, when we stop blaming other people for everything that's wrong in our lives, to take charge and show good examples, what are we going to do? And I talked about the difference between managers and leaders, and you know, where managers measure and leaders develop people, process and performance. And that leadership as well as management is not necessarily a person or a title, it's a behavior. How can we change or better or improve just our behavior? We not necessarily change it, but we might have to just improve it. And then we go to the law of the lid, which I mentioned, where lifting people up so we can take them with us. And then what are you prepared to do as a leader? So I think I've said quite enough for today, but I would like to ask, is there any questions that you would like answered right now? Put them in the box below just now, and I have still got a few minutes where I can answer some of your questions. Please stretch me. I'm stretching myself, and I love this kind of stuff. You know, if you're here now, you're probably already in Amy Carrier's classroom, but Amy has done so much already to bring people together, and this is not to impress you that I'm in the classroom. This is to impress upon you that we're coming together to learn from each other, to learn with each other, and to share and learn about each other's cultures, about each other's backgrounds, about everything about each other. And it will all show up as well in the kind of questions you're asking me, because I'm guaranteed that you will stretch me too in some of the questions you ask, because I've got some of the answers, but definitely I don't have every. Now Amy herself comes with a question. What is the number one piece of advice you give anyone watching this? Apart from joining Amy Carrier's classroom, of course, I would say make sure that this month we're talking especially about leadership, but make sure that you are starting to look at yourself. Look at a person in the mirror. And I said one time, there's a lot of people are afraid to look in a mirror because of all the complacency they see when it looks back at itself, and others are afraid to look in the mirror because of the light they see in themselves. Become a light and light others. So the number one part of advice I would give here is that start seeking out people that you respect, people that you know that you can look up to, and start learning from them. Whether it is virtual by YouTube, there is plenty of YouTube videos. I mean, I've got some of my heroes, I get them on YouTube a lot. I've connected with quite a few as well, I've been fortunate in that. But books, like there is plenty of books available. So if you can't meet with these people personally, go and read about them. Go and read the stuff they write in their blogs, in their YouTube videos, in their Facebook pages. Connect with them everywhere. Look at the people around you. Are they the kind of people you want to learn from? Are these the kind of people you want to necessarily be around all the time? And if not, there is a few things you can leave those kind of people, or you can become that example. Become more positive. You know, don't join the people in their negativity pity parties. Be above that, and you know, they will be very surprised when you start saying more positive things and when you start talking in a different way. But it's up to you, and it might be uncomfortable because your friends might ridicule you because who do you think you are? And all of a sudden you become, no, I'm slowly changing myself because I want to become a better self. I want to be a healthier self, and I want to be a better example to my children, to my community, and to the people at my work. And by doing so, if I can help other people to do so, we have a ripple effect, and we will change this world. In Amy Carrier's classroom, one step at a time, we will do this, and we will change ourselves because we will learn from you. And let's have a look at this. Okay, Arthur is writing all this down for me again. And, you know, there is a lot of advice I can give you, but I think that is some of this. In self-leadership, what kind of leader are you at the moment? Did you score yourself when I asked you? Go and score yourself from a rate of 1 to 10 from all the information you've got just now, and then find out, where can I improve? You know, can I improve my people skills? Can I improve my planning? Can I have a better vision? And can I improve my results? All about leadership. Julia. Hi, Julia has got another great question as well. Thank you for the great first class. What would you say is the most important skill a leader should develop? Or what skills should come first? Wonderful question, Julia. Wonderful question. And I think, you know, as I already mentioned, there is a lot in leadership, of course, but people skills. If you want to improve anything first, because the foundation of leadership is character, but leadership is influence. So bringing it all back to that, you will become a better person and you will become a better leader if you get better people skills. And I'm talking, and in the next month I'm also addressing this in coaching, in speaking, in communication, in finding your why, and even in youth development, because it's all important and all connected. So I think that would be the first one, and I hope that answered the question. But you know, also look at your results as a leader. if you are a leader, even self-leadership, what kind of results are you getting out of life? Are you still complaining about the ones you don't get, or the ones that got away, the people who were to blame? What kind of results are you getting? How can you become a better leader? Change your people skills, improve your people skills, start to plan a bit better, have a vision for your life, and you will get better results. I think it has just come to the hour. We're on 1 minute away, so if there's anybody else who has still got a question, then I would love to answer it. And I say, if you watch this video afterwards and have some questions, and Amy will keep me right in the amount of time this video will be on. She'll probably put this in there right now so I can tell you. But if I can tell you and you still watch the video, you were in time. See, I told you don't need to be that clever for this. I just figured this out. But no. If you have any questions when watching this video afterwards, then I will do my best to answer them either during the week or in the first part of the first 10-15 minutes of my next session. So don't be afraid. No question is a bad question. It says having a question is showing that you're interested in results. And somebody once said to me, because we talked about questions, and they said, if you have a question, you don't ask it. That is where you go wrong. And I don't know where this quote comes from. It said, it is better to appear a fool for 5 seconds than remain a fool for life. So no question is a bad question, because if you don't know it or don't understand it, either I haven't explained it good enough, or if it's a question associated with this, by being able to answer it, we both learn. So yeah, I think so to finish off, this is my last minute. I am Jan Robberts. I am privileged to be part of Amy Carrier's classroom. And remember, every day in Amy Carrier's classroom, you've got people like Alex, like PJ, like Julia, like Arthi. Every day there is people you can learn from. But for me, this month, I will be talking about leadership, and I gave you the subjects earlier on. Today was what kind of leader am I? Next week it will be intentional leadership. The week after, influential leadership. And the fourth one will be values of a great leader. So I will be talking about them. And I will be on, as you've now seen, 1 o'clock on a Sunday, EDT at the moment, which is 7 o'clock South Africa time. And I would recommend, now, if you're not in Amy's classroom yet, sign up, because she's got a lot more in store for you. And you want to be part of that classroom, not because of me, because of what everybody else. I mean, you want to know about cryptocurrency? Join the classroom. You want to know about different kinds of leadership, and Arthi talked passionately about the glass ceiling that we all get to know, and which she actually shattered in her powerful evening session. I've got another Ambreen. Yeah, Okay, thank you very much for your kind words, Ambreen. It's always a pleasure to hear you, and thank you for being part of this. But yeah, so look in the schedules, visit Amy Carrier's classroom when these people are on. Mine is on a Sunday, and I look forward to seeing you next week, Sunday, 1 p.m. EDT, 7 p.m. South Africa time. It has been a pleasure, and thank you for sharing and commenting and the questions you've had so far already. And have an amazing week ahead. My name is Jan Robberts, Amy Carrier's Classroom. Talk to you next week. Bye-bye.